Hey folks, today we're talking about the foods that you need to beware of and definitely eat in moderation while you are trying to lose weight on a ketogenic diet. Why should you listen to me? Well, I lost 170 pounds in 2 years on a ketogenic diet, and I've been keeping that off for several years now. So these are just the things that I've learned and I want to share with you. Let's start this video off quickly by stating the 3 rules of ketogenic weight loss. The first rule for any type of weight loss diet that you try is maintaining a calorie deficit. No matter what food you're eating, whether it's high carb, low carb, vegan, paleo, whatever, if you are not eating at a calorie deficit, you are not going to lose weight. So a lot of people, when they hear about just a regular keto diet for like overall general health or getting rid of diabetes, they don't get that idea that they have to eat less than they have been eating so that they can lose weight. Now, keto makes it easier to lose weight for various reasons. If you want to know about those, you can check here, but it's necessary for every diet to eat at a calorie deficit so that you can burn the fat from your body, right? You need to make up that deficit by burning the fat from your fat stores. The second rule for a ketogenic weight loss diet is that you keep your carbs low. This is what keto is famous for. I usually recommend 20 to 25 net grams of carbs per day or less. You want your body to run out of sugar so that it starts running on fat. That's what being fat adapted is all about, so that it can burn the fat from your body. Once again, really important for ketogenic weight loss. The third rule, and one that's really important for this video, is that you need to hit a protein goal daily. I will link my favorite ketogenic calculator down below, and it can tell you how much protein you should be hitting daily. It'll give you a low end and a high end. I try and stick in the middle, but sometimes I go higher. I really try not to go on the low end because you do not want to lose muscle mass. That will affect your weight loss too. If you're losing muscle mass, you're losing the ability to burn calories. Muscle burns calories. Also, you might have hair and nail issues like I have had, and you just want to avoid those if you can. So maintaining a calorie deficit, staying really low carb, and hitting a protein goal are the 3 rules for ketogenic weight loss. So let's talk about the foods that make it hard to lose weight given those 3 rules. So these foods that we're going to talk about today made the list because they're either very highly caloric without offering much of a protein source, or they are addictive, meaning if you are overweight, you probably have food issues with portion control, like me. So these are foods that can be dangerous as well. The first set of foods that we're going to look at are the high fat without offering as much protein. The first foods that you should definitely be wary of are high fat meats. I know, you hear it all the time. Keto's so great because we eat high fat. Yes, those people who are not trying to lose weight can eat the high fat, but if you are trying to lose weight, you want to burn that fat. Remember, calorie deficit, burning fat. You're still getting the fat, you're still consuming it, you're just not consuming it through your diet, you're consuming it from your body. So we advertise keto really well by saying, eat all the bacon, eat all the, high percentage fat ground beef, eat those chicken thighs. The thing is that those foods are much more caloric, sometimes twice as much caloric as the leaner options out there. So yes, high fat percentage beef, chicken thighs, sausages, bacon, all of those are very fatty, which means that you're gonna hit that calorie limit before you hit that protein goal. Also, it's much more calories for a smaller volume of food. So if you're somebody who enjoys a full stomach like me, even though I've lost all my weight, I still wanna feel full. You may not get that physical satisfaction from eating a lower volume. So it's just gonna depend on what affects you and how you can kind of moderate your lifestyle and the things that you want as you're losing weight. But just to put it into some perspective, let's look at some comparisons of meats. 300 grams of great value chicken breast comes out to about 295 calories and 61 grams of protein. However, 300 grams of the Tyson chicken thighs, boneless and skinless, will run you 430 calories and 51 grams of protein. So you're eating a lot more calories and not even getting all that protein. So to maintain that calorie deficit, to not hit your calorie limit, you would have to eat less meat. And I like eating meat, I like food. I'm a food addict. Let's compare beef. So 224 grams or half a pound of 73% ground beef is gonna run you about 762 calories. Ay, ay, ay. However, 224 grams or half a pound of 93% ground beef is going to run you 336 calories and 45 grams of protein. Once again, you are getting many more calories out of the 73% ground beef. And I threw some bacon in there just to compare. So for 50 grams of cooked Hormel Black Label traditional bacon, you are looking at 250 calories and 17 grams of protein. 50 grams isn't a lot of bacon. And if you ate the same weight of bacon as you did of the lean ground beef, half a pound, 224 grams, that would come out to 1,120 calories and 74 grams of protein. So what am I saying? I'm saying that yes, you can incorporate these foods. If you want to have one meal of a high-fat meat, awesome. But then make sure to balance it out with a leaner meat, maybe some fish, maybe some chicken breast, maybe some pork loin or some pork chop. Don't get me started on the high fatness of barbecue pulled pork, because that's just one of my favorite foods, but I have to eat it in moderation. So don't be afraid of those foods, but just remember that you're not going to hit a protein goal if you eat all the high fat meats while trying to maintain a calorie deficit. The second food you should definitely eat in moderation and be wary of are cooking fats. So the thing about cooking fats is you get so many calories for such a little amount of the food that you're eating. So think a tablespoon of butter. A little pat of butter is 100 calories. A tablespoon of olive oil is 120 calories. And guess what? They don't have any protein. It's all fat, all right? So again, I'm saying don't be afraid to incorporate these, but don't go hog wild on just adding fat into your meals because you think you have to hit a fat goal. No, that's not the goal. Fat's not the goal. The goal is weight loss, which means you need to eat the fat from your body, which means the goal is a calorie deficit. That is the main thing for any type of weight loss diet. I really only use butter when I'm making eggs, and that's just so that they don't stick to the pan. But like when I'm cooking meats, unless it's like a stir fry, I don't use fat. But again, don't be afraid to incorporate them, or if you feel like they do add flavor, that's great, but just don't go overboard. Personally, I like to add flavor through other types of fats rather than cooking fats. I like to add cheese, dressings, dips, things like that. That's where I find my satisfaction. But again, if you find your satisfaction from adding cooking fats, more power to you. Just make sure it's in moderation. The next group of foods that we're going to look at are the ones that are addicting if you have issues with portion control. The third food that you should be aware of on a ketogenic weight loss diet is cheese. And if you've seen any of my videos, you know I love cheese. The issue with cheese, again, is for a serving or 28 grams or 1 ounce, about the size of your thumb, that could be anywhere from 80 calories to 120 calories. So I really try not to eat more than a serving or 2 of cheese per day. So no more than like 200 calories. Also, cheese could be inflammatory. It's just going to depend on how your body reacts to dairy. But I've heard many people from many different websites, forums, here on YouTube comments say that dairy for them is inflammatory and it stalls their weight loss. So you'll have to try it out on your own. But again, I know cheese is good. Just make sure you don't overdo it. The fourth food that you should definitely beware of if you are a food addict like me and have issues with portion control are nuts and nut butters. I go back and forth all the time on allowing nuts and nut butters into my life. Oh, they're so good. They're so addicting. But guess what, y'all? 28 grams. It's going to run you from like 180 to 200 calories. And that is not a lot. That is less than a handful. So unless you're very specific with how you eat nuts and nut butters, it's a very dangerous game. And I have played that game many a time and I have lost. I cannot tell you how many cans of pecans or cans of peanuts or almonds I have eaten within a night. How many times that's happened? Countless. I don't know. Nut butters, same thing. Peanut butter, sun butter. Don't get me started on sun butter. It's one of my favorite things. But I will be going so good on nuts and nut butters for weeks at a time. And then boom, rough day. I don't know. The weekend felt too short. It's a Sunday and I've been real good on my diet. There's a whole can of peanut butter in there. I'm going to eat that can. So even for me, somebody who has lost 170 pounds and has maintained that weight loss for many years now, I still struggle. And so if you are especially a beginner, you want to make sure that you approach these foods carefully. Tiptoe around them, incorporate them, but if they become an issue, don't be afraid to get them out of your life or just kind of ban them for a while. Maybe you can incorporate them back in like I do, and then boom, you binge. So it's one of those love-hate things. So especially when it comes to these, you want to measure, portion them out, and track them. Yes, track them before you eat them. The fifth group of foods you should be very wary of are keto substitutes. Now, this includes things like home keto baking. I've made my fair share of sweets videos. If you look at my channel, my favorite's a cheesecake without any flour or anything. It's basically a custard. But these foods are so difficult, again, if you have issues with portion control, to eat in moderation. There was this one time I had a birthday party back in 2017 or so. I made myself an entire low sugar keto friendly cheesecake and nobody else was gonna eat it because I told them it was all low sugar. So they ate the other things that I had provided, like cookies from the bakery. Anyway, so I made this entire low carb cheesecake and before the end of the night, that thing was gone. I was so embarrassed because I ate it all. Oh, I cringe looking back at that. But these are foods that, even if you are an expert on keto and keto weight loss, they are hard to say no to when they're sitting on your table in your fridge. So other substitute foods like the keto baking, low carb ice creams. You know, I've binged on my fair share of Halo Top too. Things that I have struggled with portion control are low sugar chocolates like Lily's. I know everybody loves Lily's. It tastes really good, and if you can moderate your portion control, that's great. But for me, a whole bar, yeah, let me stuff that down my gullet. Actually, I would recommend when it comes to keto sweets is to only subtract out the fiber. That's what I did when I was first losing weight for those first 2 years, because I didn't know that people subtracted out sugar alcohols. So I was looking at this like Lily's dark chocolate or like Russell Stover dark chocolate and sugar-free stuff, and I didn't realize that you could subtract out those sugar alcohols. So I was looking at like just subtracting out the fiber, and I was like, how are people on keto eating this? I don't get it. So I just got the Lindt and the Ghirardellis. I'm glad that I did though, because I avoided those for so long. I'm sure that it helped my weight loss. And I'm sure that if I had found those, you know, low carb dark chocolates and eaten them, they would have derailed me. So my suggestion is, if you struggle with those, find something where you're only subtracting out fiber and not sugar alcohol. I suggest the Lindt, you know, for a couple squares, you're only looking at like 4 or 5 grams of carbs. So that's my 2 cents on those. Please don't hate me. I love those foods too, but they can be dangerous. This section will include breads too. I don't know, I'm not a fan of, you know, low carb breads. I just think, why not make it into a lettuce wrap or a salad? Why do we have to add calories and a few carbs when, I don't know, I don't get it. If you like your low carb bread and it works for you, awesome. The 6th and last food group that you should look out for and be wary of are the keto products out there. Just because something says keto on it, that does not mean that if you just incorporate it into your regular, you know, standard American diet, that it's going to help you lose weight. If anything, you might gain weight. So that does not mean that you need to go out and buy MCT oil. Oh, please. I've never even tried it. I don't even know what it tastes like, but apparently people put it in their coffee. Apparently people cook with it. I don't know. Unless you like the taste of it and want to add it in for that reason, I would just say avoid it, because it is highly caloric. It's an oil. It's fatty. Keto bars, keto powders, keto smoothies, unless you actually enjoy these foods and can incorporate them in moderation into your ketogenic goals, aka your calorie deficit, your low carb lifestyle, and your protein goal, then that's fine if you can incorporate them, but don't feel like you have to, and don't just add them into your regular standard American diet. Well, folks, those are just the things that I've noticed throughout my weight loss and what I see other people struggle with when it comes to ketogenic weight loss. Remember, the 3 tenets for a ketogenic weight loss diet are maintaining that calorie deficit, staying at 20 to 25 net grams of carbs per day, and hitting a protein goal. You also want to be satisfied, and you want to make this lifestyle sustainable for you. So do find those things that you can incorporate in moderation. But if you find that it becomes an issue where you're overeating or you're not meeting your goals, don't be afraid to ban those things and maybe incorporate them later on down the line. If you enjoyed the video, please do not forget to like and subscribe. That would help me out so much. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, I will link all of that down below. And if you are a beginner, you're in luck, because during the first bit of this year, 2021 is going to be awesome. We are going over all the basics. So things you should eat, how to start a ketogenic weight loss diet, and you can check out my entire playlist that I've made. All these videos, so useful, I think, in my opinion. So be sure to check it out. Well, like I said, that's about it for today. My name's Allie. Y'all have a good one. Bye.